And next up, we got another American top team mainstay in Edson Barboza versus Bryce Mitchell. Now, this is an interesting fight. I think that this would be Bryce Mitchell's true test of the elite. And there's little areas over the course of his career where you can see that maybe a striker like Edson can find some success on the feet and avoid the ground. But then you look at Edson and where, the most criticism he gets is not being able to avoid the ground or giving up his back and really riding things out. You've noticed fights where there's just a lot of opportunity for guys to kind of finish on the ground, but he's still got that 78% takedown defense. My biggest thing is the amount of damage he takes. You look at Bryce Mitchell, doesn't throw a lot, but 2.29 strikes landed per minute, 1.46 absorbed. But it's the 61% striking actually and 60% defense that stands out the most. Over the course of his career, he's gotten to face better and better, opponents. I think Feely might actually be the best striker he's taken on so far. But Edson versus Feely in terms of striking, I think that we have to give Edson, kind of that elite status a bit. And other than that Giga Chikadze fight, Edson's been on a bit of a roll himself. And you talk about the Shane Burgos fight, right? I think that was a fight where, for what he accomplished in that fight, I think it just really solidified where his striking game is at. Those two, between Shane Burgos and Edson, I don't think they're trying to see the ground very much. And that fight was absolutely amazing, ended in a big way. And, in this one, Barboza's going to have that 5-inch reach advantage. And I think for the way he fights and how long he looks, the kicks, that's going to be very important. And for me, when you think about Barboza, it's going to be the leg kicks. It's going to be those strikes that keep Bryce at bay, that kind of pot shots and couple 1-2s, like a lot of these strikes that can not only win you the contest over a 3-round fight with points, things like that, control, but it's the idea that it opens up, a lot more damage for Bryce Mitchell to see how well he can kind of deal with that, how good his durability is, and see if he can push forward as fighters get tired to still find those submission opportunities, get the fight to the ground, because in this fight, I don't see any other way for him to really win this. I think that the striking is fundamentally designed to set up everything else, and I don't think he's coming to do battle with Edson on the feet. Let's be real. And so, when you think about the entries, you think about the knees and the uppercuts and things like that Edson can send back. That's the part that I'm really curious to see. I think Edson's got a lot of good IQ in terms of a stand-up fighter, trying to avoid the ground and also getting some big shots of his own. That's where I really like Edson in this fight, and it would be surprising to see him as a favorite. I'm not going to lie. I think Bryce Mitchell has garnered so much hype as a fighter, both inside the octagon and outside, that it would be hard to see people not driving the line back to, a certain area if Bryce Mitchell was the underdog. So I'm going to go with Bryce as a favorite here, probably minus 120, minus 130, because I do think Edson very much has an opportunity to win this fight, and it's going to be in the striking game. If he avoids the ground, I just don't see him losing. I really don't. And so let's go Bryce Mitchell as a minus 120 favorite, but we do think that Edson's got a good chance of coming back here. Oddshark does not have anything. Let's go to our trusted friends at Bet365. And we've got Bryce Mitchell and Edson Barboza. So, wow, Edson Barboza plus 137, Bryce Mitchell minus 163. For me, that line pretty much dictates that there's a significantly good chance that Bryce Mitchell might be able to get these takedowns, work it to the ground, find ways to try and submit him. But at the same time, the fact that he's not a minus 200 underdog does not sell his ground game and ability to change levels as much as you'd think. And I think Barboza is very much a live dog here. I think the striking game is going to be what really opens things up. And unless Bryce is really able to push forward through those elbows and those knees and work up against the fence, get it to the ground, really make Edson work, it's going to be a pretty close fight. So let's see how that one goes. Let's check out the weigh-ins. Right now, I just kind of think dog or pass. I'm not going to lie, but there's a lot to be said about Bryce Mitchell's game plan going into this one, and I think that if he can find success early, it's going to be a tough fight for Edson as well. So we're going to have to dig a little deeper into that one, but let's call it a lean on Edson.